Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Monday Mindset Motivation. This is your personal transformation strategist and motivational speaker, Shauna-Kaye. And this morning, we are somewhat continuing that conversation about purpose. However, what we're focusing on is the fact that there is a time for everything. In other words, everything that you're doing has a season. And even though right now things don't seem to be happening how you want them to and when you want them to, rest assured and believe that everything has a season. It is said in the book of Ecclesiastes that basically everything has a season. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, it says that there is a time for everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Good morning, Kevin. It's good to see you. There's a time to die, a time to be born, a time to embrace other people, a time to not embrace other people. Everything under the sun, there is a time for it. Now, why am I saying this? I am saying this because ever so often in our normal lives, we as individuals, what we do is that we get caught up in the fact that things are not happening right now. And we get frustrated because we believe that things should happen in our time when it is really God's time and God's purpose which must prevail. So I was led to speak about this specific topic as it relates to season, because ever so often you go on social media and everybody's talking about I'm in my season or this is my season. A good friend of mine just wrote a book called Empowered for Such a Time as This. Her name is Crystal Day. If you haven't checked out that book yet, you can go on Amazon and find it. And in that book, she specifically talks about the importance of stepping into your season and understanding when is your time. Good morning, Mr. Hamilton. Remember, guys, go right ahead and share the broadcast so that your friends can join us as well. And also, if you're not yet a member of the Facebook group Manifest Your Greatness Now, go ahead and join as well. I'm very happy to have you all this morning, and I'm not going to keep you long. I know persons are getting ready for work. Some persons are just getting up, but I want you to start your week, start your day in good spirits and with a positive mindset. So no matter how things are, if you think things are going slow, thank you, Mr. Hamilton. I appreciate you sharing that. If you think things in your life are just not happening in the time when you thought they would have, or you feel a bit stagnant, or you feel as though things are going really slow, what I want you to do is to take a moment to appreciate the process that you're going through. Take a moment to understand that even though you may feel like you had a timeline set maybe a year ago or even 5 years ago, or worse yet, even 10 years ago, and even right now you feel as if you're at the same place where you were 10 years ago, I put it to you that first of all, you're not at the same place and you're not within the same time. God knows what's the best time for things to happen in your life, and you have to trust that process. And more importantly, you have to trust God that the plan that He has for your life is the best plan that there is. Because the bottom line is that everything has a season. So when you get a chance, just take a read of the book of Ecclesiastes 3, maybe the first 8 verses where he speaks about everything having a season, and I'm talking about death, life, the new job, the promotion, you stepping into your purpose. Understand that there is no way to speed up maturity. Some people believe that, hey, I want to do this and I want to do it right now, but maturity is a process. I was reading The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Many of you know that I've been reading this book, and in about the third part of the book, the third chapter, he speaks about a fruit. And how if you try to hasten the maturity of the fruit, what's going to happen is that it will lose its sweetness. Now, of course, we see the statistics saying that the world is expanding at such an alarming rate that we don't have enough food to feed everybody. So, of course, with GMOs and people basically trying to speed up the rate at which plants and fruits and vegetables grow. So you find that the quality is different. In the book, he speaks about the tomato. Good morning, Mr. Burke. He speaks about the tomato. Some people say tomato, same thing. And how when they pick them, they actually pick the green ones because in packing them and distributing them, they don't want them to get all messed up. And then what they do just before they give them to the manufacturer or the retailer, they spray them with CO2 and they turn red immediately. Now, if you were to pick up one of those tomatoes and eat it, it will not taste as good as one that is allowed to mature on the tree until it ripens on its own. And that can be applied to just about any kind of fruit. But the point is that when you apply this analogy to our lives, whatever it is that you're doing, growth takes time. maturity takes time, and sometimes we make the mistake of trying to speed things up, and then we get ourselves, in Jamaica we say, we get ourselves in hot water. We get ourselves in situations that is very hard for us to dig ourselves out of. And that is why you need to take some time to appreciate the process, and rather than going through the experiences, try to grow through them so that you can build character. In the Bible, you see whereby every time God was preparing someone for a journey or for a big task, he took time. For Moses, it took 80 years, including 40 years in the wilderness. Habakkuk, lots of the prophets, you see whereby it took time for them to mature so that they could step into the purpose for which God has called them. Now, we already know that the ultimate purpose while we're here is to prepare ourselves for eternity, and in the process to win souls and to get other people to draw closer to God. But as we're on that journey, we're also growing, contributing, and reaping the abundance that we were promised. But in order to do that and to do it to its fullest, you have to understand that you need to take some time to grow. And it is often said that patience is a virtue. But it is my position that patience is one of the most uncommon virtues. Good morning, Malia. It's good to see you. Remember to share the broadcast. I believe that patience is one of the most uncommon virtues. And why I say that is, even though we are urged time and time again to be patient, good morning, Miss Morgan, thanks for joining. Even though we're urged time and time again to be patient, and ever so often you hear that proverb, patience is a virtue, I feel like sometimes we say it just kind of mindlessly without even thinking about it and understanding what it actually means. But when you can exert patience, especially when it is absolutely necessary, those are the people who grow the most, and those are the people who are able to build character and fortitude so that they can take on the challenging times in life. Because those times are inevitable, they're going to come. And the persons who are willing to back down quickly are the ones who try to get there really fast. So make no mistake, thank you for sharing, Malia. Make no mistake about it. There is no manual or quick fix. You know, you have these books out there called Instant Millionaire, or The Quickest Way to Success, or How to Make $1 Million in 1 Week, or some crazy things like that. A lot of times these topics and these titles are very catchy, but you as an individual, even if you take an interest because of the title that draws you in initially, need to take time to see what is said underlining that book, what is said in the book itself, because oftentimes books are named in such a way as to bring them to your attention to get people to buy. But when you start delving into the material, you realize that there is a lot more to be said, that you realize that the author is not that superficial. Don't take the title and run with it. Like they always say, don't judge a book by its cover. That particular saying holds true. So oftentimes when you read those books, like for example, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yes, technically he's saying that you can think and grow rich, but it doesn't mean you're going to sit down on a chair like I'm doing right now and just start thinking and then you're going to become rich. It's not like that. What he's entreating you to do is to tap into your creativity, realizing that every single thing starts with an idea, starts with a thought. Because like James Allen said, thoughts are things. But understanding that, you have to also realize that for you to grow rich or to achieve any of the things that you're promised in the plethora of books with these fancy names, you have to go through a process which is going to take time. Just like maturity takes time. So remember, everything has a season. And even though you may see some people maturing faster than you or doing the things that you would love to do, and you may say, how come they're doing that? I started it first. Don't mind that. Because their story is going to be different from yours regardless. Don't be discouraged. Trust in God and trust that He will allow you to step into your season at the opportune time. Another thing is that I don't want you to become disquieted about things that you cannot control. And that's one of the mistakes that we often make. We try to take on everything, the big things that are totally out of our control. Even the things that we know within ourselves that we cannot do anything about them. They're going to change no matter what. Just like change is constant, we still try to take everything in our hands. And then when we become overwhelmed, that's when we're more inclined to give up. And that is basically doing a disservice not just to ourselves, but also to the people we were called to serve. And that is why I impel you to take a moment to understand the importance of going through that process. Matter of fact, understand the importance of growing through that process, because it's all about growth. It's all about understanding and appreciating that maturity is a process which takes time. Absolutely, Kevin. Trust the process. You all have to trust the process. We're going through different processes, and I don't want you to become discouraged because someone else, maybe your age, someone who was in your class, someone who studied with you, they seem to be going way ahead of you, and you are here. It's not a comparison, and it's not a race. Some people say life is a game, like Florence Scovel-Shinn in The Game of Life on How to Play It. She says life is a game. It's a game of giving and receiving. Different persons have their own theories. They postulate different things about what they think life is essentially about. And I submit that life is not about any one of these things, but actually it's about all of these things coming together. And that's when you understand the essence of life. It's a challenge. It's a game. It's a race. It's everything combined and not any one isolated thing. So with that said, I am here to remind you that there is a time and there's a season for everything. As I used an analogy earlier, a fruit will take time to mature and ripen so that you can eat it. It's the same way how your gifts and your talents are going to take time to develop and mature so that you can become a person of value. And we also talk about spiritual gifts. All of us are blessed with some sort of spiritual gifts, and I believe that because we were all called here to win souls, to fellowship, and to minister to other people. So we all have some sort of spiritual gift, or some people may call them the fruit of the Spirit. And like everything else, the fruit of the Spirit takes time to mature. Nothing happens overnight. Mr. Burke says, I think we're messing with nature too much and everything so fast. People want to keep up, so everything is in a rush. No one wants to work hard. Everything is so fast. Actually, Mr. Burke, I cannot read all of your comment, but I think I get the essence of what you're saying, and I absolutely agree. Society has changed so much that they make you feel as though it's one big rush. And I mean, there are aspects of life that you know, things are moving faster than they did before. But it's not about any kind of rush. You don't need to speed. You need to take time to appreciate the scenery. Take the scenic route sometimes. Don't always try to rush to get there. Take the scenic route sometimes so that you can appreciate the amazing things that God has created. Even the smallest of insect or the tree that looks so unusual, take time to appreciate it and understand that the magnificence of who God is. Stop trying to rush toward your future. Stop trying to rush to achieve success. Understand that you are a success even as you are right now. Just having that desire inside of you to do great things and to impact people's lives make you a success. Earl Nightingale says that a man with a goal is already successful because he knows where he is going. It's all about perspective, ladies and gentlemen. And no matter what, I don't want you to be disheartened because you feel as though circumstances are not the way you want them to be. As James Allen says, circumstances does not make a man. It reveals a man to himself. Don't allow your circumstances to define you. Worse yet, don't allow people to define you. No one is infallible. We all have faults. We all fall short and we all come short of the glory of God. And because of that, we are all going to make some mistakes. No one knows everything. And a lot of persons feel like they have the authority to define who you are and to tell you what's right for you. Especially in the age of automation and social media. Hello? Everybody is an expert in something. Everybody believes that they know everything about something. And if you're not careful, you get drawn into it. That's what I'm trying to discourage as I speak to you this morning about having a time for you to step into your purpose, about there being a season for everything. Just like there are 4 seasons, spring, winter, autumn, and summer. It's the same way how your life has its seasons. There's a season for growth, and there's a season when you need to experience decrease so that God can increase. There's a season for you to reap abundance, whether it is in a material sense or a spiritual abundance. And there's a season when you feel as though you're going through some type of a drought, like you're not growing, you're not advancing, nothing seems to be happening. But even then, when you feel like you're in the throes of somebody's wrath, you need to take time to appreciate the circumstances that you're in. Because I have a theory. My theory is that when I go through something that is almost unbearable, and I'm able to overcome that, I'm grateful. That wasn't always my perspective though. I used to be the person who would ask, God, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? But guess what? That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Because even though we have bad times when we cry and we ask God, why me? What about the good times? Why don't we say, God, why is it so great for me? Give it to someone else. We may say, God, why is it so great for me? What have I done to deserve this? And that's humility. But we never say, God, why are you doing all these good things for me? Give it to someone else. We don't do that. But as soon as things get tough, as soon as we're going through a rough patch, when God is really trying to teach us something, we start complaining. Why do I have to go through this? Why is that person over there who is such a bad person not going through all of this and I am experiencing this? It's not about that. You have to be willing to experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm just being real, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be willing to grow through the entire process, and it comes with the territory. It comes with you being a human being who is growing and maturing so that you can step into the full purpose for which God has called you. And in order for you to do that, you have to experience every aspect of it, both good and bad, both positive and negative. Because Rick Warren says that while you are worrying about how fast you will get there, God is worried about how strong you will be when you get there. You see the difference? We all have desires, we all have goals and dreams, and we set timelines, which is necessary. In my book about goal setting, I speak about the importance of setting goals that are time bound. So of course you need to have a time frame so that you know what you're working with. I get that. But you also must be willing to surrender right now to God's plans for your life. That, you guys know that that's what I believe. And I commend you to look at things from this perspective too. So you have to understand that God is trying to fortify you for something that's so big that if you're not fortified now, when you get there, you're going to blow up. Because you won't be able, you're most welcome, because you won't be able to manage. You won't be able to handle it because it's bigger than you. So stop trying to speed your way there. Stop trying to get around the process. Stop trying to avert the obstacles. Go through the process and understand that if God didn't think you were strong enough, He would not give you your particular storm. You know, sometimes I used to hear my mother saying, when I was growing up, my mother used to always say, God does not give you more than you can bear. Whenever things were really bad and sometimes she would cry, she would always say that. And that's one of the many sayings that she has, fed into us children that has continued on with me to date. And it's really true. I don't believe that He's going to give any of us anything that is too much for us to bear, because that means we would die under the pressure and we would not be able to fulfill the purpose for which He called us. Death is inevitable, yes, but it will never be that you have died because God gave you too much. Because He already told you, cast your burdens on Him. Another mistake that we make as human beings is that we try to deal with the burden on our own. We try to take on everything, and it is just not feasible. It is just not feasible. And then when we do that and things get really bad and really unbearable, guess what? We release venom on anything and anyone in our path. What good is that doing? Then you become known as this mean person who you aren't, but you allow your desire to always gain and maintain this power and control to overcome you, so that you don't realize that God did not bring you here to worry. He brought you here to go through adversity, yes, so that you can grow from them, so that you can build character, so that you can become fortified, so that when you get on that other side, where the world knows who you are, and the world knows that you are good for doing what you do, you'll be able to handle it. You will have the good sense to get a team that is effective and that is committed to the big dream. If you're trying to speed your way, skipping steps, it's going to catch up with you. And for some people, they never recover. So I want you to take a moment to appreciate that even what you're going through right now is just a season for that thing. Another mistake, the third and final mistake that we all make at one time or another, is that when we hear that everything has a season, we tend to think that season is only for good things. So, oh, I want to step into my season. We just think it's all positive things. But no, everything has a season, meaning that bad things and good things have their designated season. There are some people who favor winter over summer, and there are some people who favor summer over winter. And for them, for those respective groups, if their preference is winter, they're perhaps going to abhor the summer. They will hate the summer because that's not their favorite. And so summer to them will be like torture. And that's the point I'm making. So for them, that particular season, I cannot wait for summer to end, for winter to come, because I just hate it. For me, who is from the Caribbean, where it is 90 degrees all day, every day, and sometimes over 100, I don't like the winter because it's just too cold for me, and I have to wear all these clothes, and it's just not the thing that I like, because I grew up with something that was completely different. And so for me, the winter time is not necessarily my favorite time. But what do? I don't lock myself in and become a recluse because I don't want to face the winter. I dress appropriately, and I go out because the show must go on, life must go on, and I learn how to exist in the winter. So it's the same way as you're going through the winter season of your life. Understand that it is necessary. Understand that seasons are going to be good and bad, and that as you grow, you're going to experience some tough times, but it is those times that you're going to develop the strength that you need. So ladies and gentlemen, as you go through your week, irrespective of what transpired over the past few weeks, where you might have said that, well, this year is going so fast. Remember, 2017 just finished, 2018 just started, and today is the 29th. 2 days left in the first month. Can you believe it? We are already 1 month into the new year. So I know already some people are probably freaking out because I set all these goals and they thought at the end of January I was going to accomplish certain things. That's okay. That's okay, because it wasn't the time yet. You see, it is different if you're just sitting around doing nothing, because God didn't bring you here to be idle. Thanks for sharing, Gwen. God didn't bring you here to be idle and to just sit and watch life go by. But if you've been making some efforts and you've been making some mistakes in the process, that's fine. You needed to do that. You needed to grow. And that is why things have not happened yet. So I don't want you to think that, oh, we're already a month in, I didn't accomplish some things, it's over. Of course not. Don't be that dramatic. It's life. And it happens to the best of us. Even me, even for me sitting here in front of you, there are some things that I wish I would have done by now that I didn't do. What am I going to do? Die? Absolutely not. All I'm going to do is to go back to the drawing board and see if I was realistic about the time frame that I set, and see if I was being overly ambitious. It's basically just trying to reassess my situation, because that's what life is about. Growth is about being able to introspect and to reassess when necessary, so that you can come back and move on from a point of being informed. If you're not willing to reflect and introspect, you cannot move on in an informed way. So it's all part and parcel of the process. Life in and of itself is a process. Some people say life is a journey. It's all of that. So you have to be willing to grow through that process, to take that journey, and on that journey, take the scenic route so that you can appreciate the magnificence of God, so that you can appreciate every person that you pass on the street, irrespective of their status in society, so that you can appreciate the life that you have, because you have it. And even though things are not happening in the time that you thought they would have, it's okay. Because I believe that things happen. I believe there's a divine order for everything. Nothing happens before the time, and nothing happens too late. But everything happens in the right time. Me sitting here this morning speaking with you, it's the right time. I was meant to be here. Believe it or not, I haven't slept yet. I'm not tired though, but I haven't slept yet. I've been up all night. I had a good weekend. I was rested. I'm not tired, but even then, God knew I wasn't going to sleep before doing this broadcast on January 29, 2018, and He prepared me for it. You sitting there watching me or driving to work, listening to me, He knew you were going to be in that position. It's a part of the divine order. It was meant to be. You are meant to hear what it is that I'm sharing with you this morning. Don't take it lightly. Take the parts of it that you can find value in, the parts of it that are applicable to your life, and whatever you don't find any value in, discard it. You don't need any junk. But the parts that are applicable, take them, apply them so that you can grow and become even stronger, so that you can move from strength to strength. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate the process because there's no way to avert it. I thank you all for joining me this morning. Just a quick reminder, if you're not yet a member of the Facebook group Manifest Your Greatness Now, you are more than welcome to join that group. And also, we have the podcast again this week. Last Wednesday, I was not able to do it because I had another engagement. I was a part of a panel discussion. Pictures are coming soon. But the podcast will resume this week on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, the Monday Mindset Motivation will continue, of course. So next week, if you have any suggestions about what it is that you want to hear me speak about, share it in the comment section and I will definitely get to it. Remember, I'm here to serve you. So actually, I prefer if you tell me what you want to hear and then I will speak on that, as long as it's within the scope of what I speak about, which is personal transformation, personal development, anything within that realm, or even human rights. That's what I talk about. That's my area of expertise, and I welcome your suggestions. Anything that can help you to grow. We are all growing together. So anything that can help you to grow and advance, I am willing to help you with that as well. So again, guys, the thought I want to leave you with is that basically there is a time and season for everything, that God has an appointed time for everything. Nothing happens too late in God's sight, and nothing is going to happen before the time. So take a moment to appreciate the process and understand that you are in the season that you were meant to be in. So until next time, have yourselves a great day and an amazing week. Thank you all for joining, and God bless you. Bye, guys.